Hello everybody, as you probably read from the title, we're going to be going through the display on the CB650R today. So the first thing I'm going to do is turning on the bike, and that's going to start it up. So you got two sections down here, A and B. I'm just going to select my trip meter A over here real quick. Alright, so what you have here is you have the current fuel consumption, which for my case is in kilometers per liter. And then you can go to average, how many liters you have the bike has consumed since during the period right here. So that's calculated based on that. And then you have average speed, and then you have elapsed time, so the time the bike's been operating during this period, or for all these kilometers. And then you have that's it. Over here you have on the section B, you tap the set button to move through those, and then you have the revolutions per minute, and you have the total kilometers ridden, the trip meter A, and then you have B. So that's the things you can select through there. If you want to reset your trip meter, you can have the when you're on the actual trip meter you want to reset. I just reset my B, and that's what all the average speed and everything is calculated through. So what I did was I selected my trip meter, so I'm gonna reset my trip meter A, and then I'm just gonna hold in the set button to reset it right there, and then it starts flashing, so then it's reset everything down there. So that's what you're able to do down at the bottom. As far as the lamps goes, over here you have your traction, which right now shows that it's on, and if I hold this down here, I turn off the traction, or torque control as the Honda calls it, but it's better known as traction control. Yeah, the reason why it is lit right now, and the ABS and the low oil pressure gives itself because the bike is not operating right now. So of course the oil pressure is low, and traction and ABS is active until you ride about like 10 kilometers per hour or something like that. And then you have your engine light. Of course, you can't see that right now. You have your high beam. That's where the engine light is gonna go. And you have your high beam. You have your traction off, as I showed you before. The neutral, and the Honda ignition security system. We're gonna be covering that too. Indicators, of course. So there's not really a lot to this display that's not like meant to be there, so I kind of like that it's kind of simple. Moving on to the clock, you're gonna be holding in both of these until it starts flashing. Then you can choose from 24 hours or 12 hours by pressing down this button down here. I like mine as 24 hours, so I'm gonna set this. Then it's going to be moving on to the hour, and you're going to be selecting through that by pressing here, and once you have the desired hour, you just press set, and it's going to be moving on to the minutes, and same thing, you press this to select the desired minute, and you can hold it in to advance trigger, and once you're at the desired minute, press set, and then it moves on to the brightness of the display. You can choose between 5 settings. I like mine full because I usually ride during the day, so I'm gonna be setting mine at that. And then this is quite interesting. The trip meter, you can select that on and off, and that's when if your tank becomes below like normal state and about to reserve into reserve mode, it's gonna be resetting the trip meter. So just be aware of that. I like mine off, so if I ride a long trip, it doesn't reset just because I run on reserve tank. So I'm gonna be keeping mine as off. Then the Honda ignition security system comes here. You can choose that between on and off. So if you have it on, it's going to be blinking when the bike is off. So it's a little thing, but that's just what it's for. So if I have it on and I turn off the bike, it's going to be blinking over here. And if I turn it off, it's not going to be. I don't really mind, so I'm just keeping mine on. Moving on, you're going to be selecting here between miles per hour and kilometers per hour. I live in Europe, so I'm going to be keeping mine at kilometers per hour. And then you can, down here, instead of kilometers per hour, you press that, of course, and then you move on. Then you can choose between like liters per 100 kilometers or kilometers per liter. And this, of course, you're going to be changing if you select miles per hour. Then you're going to be it's going to be miles per gallon, I think, and then gallons per 100 miles or something. So yeah, I'm going to be keeping mine on kilometers per liter. So check, and then you're going to be returning to the home screen, and it's all done. Yeah. This thing right up here is the temperature of the cooling. If all of the bars are blinking, there's something wrong with the cooling system, and you should contact a dealership or like a mechanic as soon as possible. And don't ride the bike. If the H section down here is blinking, it is because that the engine is overheating. So maybe you have a leak or something in your coolant or something like that. Or yeah, so be aware of that. Very important. And also I read in the manual that if your fuel indicator or fuel gauge is like the bars are like you have one down here and you have one up here or something like that, then it's probably a malfunction, and you should also contact your dealership for like a diagnostic of your display. So yeah, that's it for like all of this. Now we're gonna be moving on to the tachometer, because there are a bit settings you can be setting, and you also have a rev indicator, a light bar right here. So I'm gonna be moving on to that. So yeah, let's move on. Alright, so once you want to be setting the tachometer and the rev indicator, turn off the bike, and then while holding the select button down, you're gonna be turning on the bike, and then the whole thing starts to blink. So the first setting is when you want the rev indicators to blink the fastest, and that's gonna be selecting pressing the select button. It starts off by 12,500 revolutions, and then when you press one more time, it's going to be going down to 5,000. So you're going to be advancing with 250 revolutions per minute, and when you go up to the 12,500, it's going to be going down to 5,000 once again. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to be setting mine at 6,000 1000 just for now, and then I'm gonna be pressing set because that's gonna be when it's gonna be moving on. And this setting right here is the interval, so like when you want it to start blinking, and not fast but just blink to indicate that you're nearing your max point that you set before. You can choose between 1000 and 200. You can choose between 250, 500, 750 and 1000. I'm gonna be keeping mine at around 500, I think. So that's it for mine, but for demonstration purposes I'm gonna be setting it at 1000 so you guys can see how it works. Then I'm gonna be pressing set to move on, and for now we're gonna be setting the brightness of the bar, the rev indicator. I usually ride mostly during the day, so I think I'm gonna be keeping it at 5. So I'm just gonna be pressing set to move on. Okay, so now the last setting we have is the tachometer display mode. This is you can choose between two different types, conventional and then peak hold. So right now it's on conventional, so when the bike revs it's not going to be showing where your previous rev point was. So but if you press select, alright, now I didn't do something for like 30 seconds, so I will have to do it all over again, so keep that in mind, guys. You're gonna be setting the settings quite quickly, because otherwise it's just gonna be moving on or like going back to the home screen. So I'm just gonna be turning off the bike and doing it again. Remember to hold down the select button and turn on the bike. So it did keep my previous settings at 6000 and 1000 and my brightness. So you have the conventional display here, and then I press select, and then you can see that the peak hold comes up here, and then temporary shows and then goes down. So you can choose between those two. I would like mine to show the peak hold, so I'm just going to be choosing that. And then once you have chosen your desired display, just press select, and then you're back at the home screen. So I'm just going to turn on the bike and let it warm up for a bit, and then you can see how it works with the rev indicator. So I'm just going to let it warm up. Alright, so now I've let the bike warm up a bit, so I'm going to be revving it to 5000, and it should be blinking right here, and once it gets to 6000 it's going to be blinking faster. So as you guys can see, once it like gets to like actually about 5000, it starts blinking a little bit, and then when it gets to 6000 it's going to be blinking faster to indicate that you are supposed to change gear now according to your own settings. So I think you guys should do something with this, because I think it's a shame to have a bike like this and don't know all the settings. So yeah, that's it for this video, and if you have any comments or corrections to me, please let me know down in the comments. I would like to be more knowledgeable about this bike, so if you have any information, please let me know. Otherwise, have a great season. I'm gonna be coming up with a video really soon with my helmet, where I'm going to be mounting my GoPro with a chin mount, but because I live in Europe and I have some family in the US, that's going to be coming with a chin mount for me. So that's gonna be nice, and I'm gonna be making a video about me mounting that onto the helmet. Looking forward to that. But until then, you guys have a great season, and stay safe on the roads. See you.